audit progress.
Jean, are you recording?
Yes, Professor, I'm recording.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Here, we open the room. Welcome or welcome back to SCoT. We are with you today with another volume of SCoT. SCoT Spatial Series Satellite number 15. As you remember, we are going to focus on one subject related to community and tourism each time. And today's webinar is one of those from the special series of webinars. It's been 830 days since we started this webinar series, and so far we had over 60 webinars. And this shows how the tourism, academia, community, and industry are related to each other and sustained this webinar series. And thank you for being with us with the different webinars and different occasions in this hard time. We started online webinars, unlike the tourism insight seminars that we traditionally used to do it because of the pandemic. And this webinar series now is part of our effort to combat the pandemic that is almost gone. Today, we are going to have a very special series of SCoT that focus on the tourism education and quality education in tourism. The program is from UNWTO, and we have a special guest today for this webinar. Before I start, I would like to ask the president of the SCoT, Professor Jafari, to enlighten us with the opening remark, and then I come back to you and I introduce our moderators today, and we continue. Professor Jafari, the floor is yours. You are muted, Jafar. Jafar, can you hear us?
Professor, is Professor Jafari?
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't unmute myself because you had me muted, but I'm okay now.
Perfect.
You hear my voice?
Yes.
Okay. No, the problem was at your end, not at my end. Anyhow, we're
sorry.
okay now.
The
Thank you very much, and welcome
everybody
to the webinar. Dr. Qasim gave you the background of the SCoT series, which began partly due to COVID, not totally because of COVID. Yeah, we have been always concerned about tourism and community. The concept is that tourism is there in order to benefit the community, not only economically, but also socioculturally. Past experience showed us that tourism may take so much from the community and give so little back to the community. And we wanted to discuss this issue to bring tourism and community together. The other thing we wanted to do is to bring attention to small communities, because larger communities traditionally, for a variety of reasons, get all the attention from the government, from the industry, from the tourists, etc. But it's often the small communities which are ignored. It's the small communities that the entrepreneurs work there. By entrepreneurs, I mean small operations in hospitality and tourism that are made up of a few employees, like a hotel with 15 rooms, with 20 rooms, or like a restaurant which a family runs, etc. These are the operators in tourism that are often neglected, or the tourism industry itself does not pay attention to them. The reality is that small operations and the small communities, when you put them up, put them together, they're the bulk of tourism. Everybody thinks bulk of tourism is the big cities and where the tourists are going to, but reality is quite different from that. So this was the principle, the reason we started the series with Dr. Qasim and some other colleagues, and we are very pleased that we are passing the mark of 60 webinars or more. I don't know exactly how it is. We normally do 1 or 2 webinars each time, and each time we do have a theme, and the theme would guide us, and speakers are speak on that theme. Dr. Qasim, I don't want to say much because I know I come on the program again. Therefore, I give the podium back to you.
Thank you, Jafar. And your opening remark is always very concise and complete. Today's moderator job is a collaboration between Sonia and Fanny. I'm going to introduce Sonia first. She is well known in many collaborations with us. It has been 20 years or more of experience in education and 15 in tourism itself. So she worked with UNWTO since 2004, with UN Academy for 159 tourism member states and 92 education and training entries of UNWTO.TedQual network and the DMOs of the UNWTO.Quest. Sonia has brought up this idea of this series with me and other colleagues in SCoT to share what the program has created. We had the first of this series earlier. You can watch this in SCoT YouTube, that the colleagues from UNWTO Academy, they shared about the principles of TedQual. And today we are going to start with a very special university in this series. I would like to pass the floor to Sonia to introduce the panel and the program itself. Sonia, floor is yours.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everybody. I would like to first of all thank Rotsumeika and Asia Pacific University, which is a member of UNWTO.TedQual network, for this invitation. And I also would like to thank very much IFTM, which is another member of this network, for having accepted to share about their journey to quality education and training and UNWTO.TedQual. This webinar would not be possible without the generous work of Professor Kazem Fadari, Professor Jafar Jafari, Professor Fanny Wong, Professor Connie Loy, and all the IFTM guests you will hear about in a bit, as well as Hira, Sakura, and the translators. Thank you so much for being here today and allowing this webinar to happen and to be so generous for sharing all your knowledge. Well, we, as Professor Kazem Fadari was mentioning, we had a first webinar that was in June where we explained what is this quality certification. And then today we have the great privilege of learning what IFTM, the journey that IFTM has on quality in education and training and their experience with this quality certification, which is UNWTO.TedQual. It was designed, this certification was designed to recognize quality, not only in education, but also in training and research programs, as well as to promote the excellence of the students' learning path for efficient readiness to enter the labor market. That's what we really feel it is important. And the 6 areas of analysis, they are all centered in the experience of the student and also of the alumni. It is also englobed by the Global Code of Ethics of Tourism. And then there are 4 other areas of analysis, which is the employers, and we will have the privilege of hearing them today. Also the academia, the faculty, we will also hear them today. Also the curriculum coherence and the pedagogical methodology, and finally the directors, which we'll also hear about today. Thank you so much. I'm going to, first of all, before giving the floor to our colleagues IFTM, I would like to introduce what is this El Instituto de Formación Turística in Macao. It is a dynamic and innovative public institution. Its programs offer outstanding educational experiences and equip graduates with the skills they need in order to have a positive impact on the sector. IFTM believes that the development of tourism depends on a well-educated workforce and high-quality leadership. As an advocate of community engagement, IFTM takes pride in educating graduates that not only excel professionally, but also work for the greater good of society. The quality of the education IFTM provides is recognized around the globe. For example, it was the first institution in the world to receive the UNWTO.TedQual quality certification for its programs. And currently, IFTM has the most bachelor's degrees program certified under that system of any educational institution in the world. IFTM was also the world's first higher education institution to receive in 2017 a successful international quality review for the United Kingdom's Quality Assurance Agency for Higher Education. So it is really the best institution to talk today about quality and excellence in education and its relationship with UNWTO.TedQual. We're very, very happy about this. And we will have the great honor to first hear the president of IFTM, IFTM, I was right, sorry, with Professor Fanny Wong. She has participated in numerous tourism research and training projects initiated by the local government and intergovernmental organizations such as United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific, as well UNESCO and UNWTO. She sits on Macao SAR Government's Tourism Development Committee, Talent Development Committee, and Higher Education Committee. And she's also an executive board member of PATA. So we are extremely privileged of hearing what she's going to talk, which is about the journey to excellence and with UNWTO, how it aligns with our strategies and the lessons learned with this certification. We will then have the privilege of listening about the experience of the public and the private partners that IFTM has, as well as the alumni, their alumni, and how they feel, how this quality certification benefits them as well. Thank you so much for being here today. And I am really looking forward to listening to you, Professor Wong.
Thank you very much, Sonia, for the very nice introduction. Can you all hear me well?
Very well, thank you.
Before I begin, I would like to thank the creators of the SCoT webinar series, Professor Kazem Fafadari and also Professor Jafari. Thank you, Sonia from UNWTO Academy, for giving us this wonderful opportunity to share our experience. And I have to thank also our speakers that I personally invited to the panel. I'll introduce them later on. So let me share my screen. Can you see the screen? It's okay? All right.
Very well. Yes,
okay,
thank you.
Sonia has given a very good introduction of the Macao Institute for Tourism Studies, so I will skip this. Just would like to add that we have a very multicultural campus. We have faculty and students coming from many countries and regions. And we have a global outreach. We offer internship opportunities to students in over 700 organizations globally. And we work with many different partners, like Sonia has taken note of. And all these, later on, I will have to attribute to our great partnership with UNWTO, this international outlook and this international partnership that we are able to build. So we are very proudly ranked as the world's number 23rd on QS World University Rankings by subject in the area hospitality and leisure management. And Sonia already introduced that we are the first institution to be certified or to have our program certified by UNWTO.TedQual, also the world's first to receive or to pass international quality review from UK's QAA. Now, here is a set of our programs to offer. We have more than 2 schools, but I'm just showing you 2 schools because they offer degree programs. Those in blue are the bachelor degree programs, that majority of which were already certified by UNWTO.TedQual. Only 2 remaining. Why? We're waiting for them to finish the first cycle to produce the first batch of graduates, and then we will start to apply again. Same with the other programs above, postgraduate programs, masters and doctoral. We'll do the same once we have the first batch of graduates. I would like also to say that besides UNWTO.TedQual, we're also engaged or involved in other projects with UNWTO. In 2016, Macao SA, our government, and UNWTO signed a memorandum of understanding. The objective is to enhance human capital and tourism in order to increase destination competitiveness and to promote sustainability. And after this MOU was signed, IFT set up the Global Center for Tourism Education and Training. And since then, we have been collaborating with UNWTO in offering training to over 300 participants from over 36 countries and regions. And we do this in collaboration. Why do we say that? Because UNWTO would nominate tourism officials from these countries and regions. They would then come to Macau for training. So yeah, we have been focusing a lot on building up our international network, but in recent years, we have also tried to refocus back on our country because we realize China is also in great need of good, well-trained tourism professionals. So there is a plan to develop the Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau Greater Bay Area into a rival comparable to what we have, in San Francisco and Tokyo, the Bay Areas, right? So our nation would like to develop the Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau Greater Bay Area. And because of the advantage Macau has in tourism development and tourism education, Macau has been designated as the training base, the tourism education and training base for the Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau Greater Bay Area. And naturally, the huge responsibility falls on our shoulder. That's the only public higher education institution in Macau specializing in tourism. So here I'd like to go into details, our journey to excellence. starting with our persistence in pursuing quality. So if you ask us why we are so keen on upholding quality, I think this is a no-brainer. We don't really need to second think why, because we believe quality is the key to competitiveness and sustainability. In the quest for quality, we always end up asking ourselves, oh, why do we do this? Why not do that? What can we improve? How can we make the experience better for our students? So it promotes spirits of continuous learning and improvement. And because people see what we have been doing, people see the efforts that we have genuinely put in creating a better learning environment and experience. So they have trust in us. We are able to build trust in stakeholders like our government, community partners, and most importantly, of course, the parents and students. So when UNWTO.TedQual approached us in 2000, inviting us to go through the accreditation or the audit process, we immediately said yes. We didn't think twice. Well, there was no examples to follow because we are the first. Why do we do that? Because I think it is very prestigious to be associated with the world's most authoritative organization in tourism. So there's no question, no doubt about that. And once you're into this network, we have access to a lot of international experts in the field, and auditors that they send to us, they're very experienced. They're able to, they speak our language, they understand the challenges we have, and they're able to provide feedback and positive, constructive comments. We're able to get international recognition because of the certification, and this enhances our brand image. And then the journey continued. Since 2000, we have continuously engaged with UNWTO.TedQual, inviting the auditor back, because the cycle is every 2 or 4 years. So once certified, it doesn't mean that you stay certified forever. You have to prove that you're able to sustain and even better, excel what you achieved last time the auditor came. And UNWTO.TedQual is an audit system that is very comprehensive. It covers 6 aspects, including organization, industry partnership, the learning experience of students, faculty development, infrastructure, and management. Every time the auditor comes, he would ask us a lot of questions with the aim to help us identify gaps. These are the standards. Here we are. These are the gaps. And once we identify gaps, we are required to put together a plan of corrective actions. So then the cycle continues. So it is a continuous process of self-review and improvement. So I'm just giving you here an example, a list of programs that we have put through the audit process. Sometimes the audit will be on site, in situ audits. Sometimes it will be documentary. And when you do the first cycle, usually you have a 2-year validity, but because we're a long way into the cycle, so every time we are very happy to get a 4-year cycle validity. Then you will see our scores. As I mentioned, these are the gaps, okay? Although we have achieved quite high score, but we are never complacent. We're never satisfied. We want to go on improving. I like to say that UNWTO.TedQual certification aligns with the overall IFTM development strategies. So it looks into places which will help us go to greater heights, achieve greater heights. For example, it asks questions, it pushes us to do more global networking. The accreditation increases the employability of our students. It encourages faculty development, both in teaching and in research. And the whole process also inspires program development, because you see, the whole process requires you to reflect on what you have been doing. And because you have this moment of reflection, then you start to ask yourself a lot of questions, and you start to have new ideas how to do better. And some of these ideas would then translate into new program ideas or new project ideas. So then our journey not only continues in the track of doing accreditation or auditing, but it also provides new opportunities to work with UNWTO in other arena. For example, there is this PI program, or a partnership in education. In 2021, we again are very fortunate to become the first institution in Asia to work together with UNWTO Academy to offer postgraduate courses in tourism. So how does it work? We identify a few courses that we think we can work together with the Academy. And then for each course, we identify an IFTM faculty, and UNWTO Academy would also identify an external faculty expert, but they will do so by making a call globally. So that's how we're able to get the best, if not the best, very good, professors to come and co-deliver courses with us. So after the courses are completed, then the participants are able to get a course certificate jointly issued by UNWTO Academy and IFTM. And we also give credit recognition. Those who finish the course will be able to get recognition in our postgraduate degree programs. So to wrap up, I just have a few lessons to share. I think the whole process is a very reflective process. It is also very much evidence-based. You cannot just claim that you are doing a lot of good things or good work. You have to show evidence. During this compilation of evidence, it's a humble learning process because you also will see your own weaknesses and limitations. And the whole process raises many questions we've never thought about. The auditors will ask us, why did you launch this program? Who have you consulted? Do you know how students think about their experience? How are you managing the facilities? So as time goes by, because we have been in this process for over 20 years, as every 2 years, every 4 years, the auditors would come question us. There's a lot of soul searching. And then slowly we also become auditors ourselves. We are trained to think like the auditor. Before he comes to audit, okay, I'm sure the auditor is going to ask us what are the gaps, what are the improvements. So before he asks, why don't we just do an exercise ourselves? So then we have a lot of internal brainstorming, a lot of internal preparation. Last but not least, it reminded us that we have to ensure that we incorporate the global code of ethics for tourism in our curriculum, which we did some years ago, and it was the very kind reminder of the auditor. But we think this is a very useful, part and parcel of the knowledge that we should impart to our students. So this is a quick sharing of our journey with UNWTO Academy in doing a lot of projects, and also in our certification process and getting this TedQual brand. So in a minute, I'm going to introduce the speakers, because I think you don't want to just hear from me as the administrator of the Institute, but I think it would be very useful to also hear from the industry, what they think about the certification, from our alumni, also from our faculty. So if you allow, then I can start introducing the speakers. All right, we have here today Ms. Maria Helena de Sena Fernandez. She is the director of Macao Government Tourism Office. She has very vast experience in destination marketing, having worked in the field for over 30 years. She is a member of several government committees related to tourism, economy, culture, and urban planning. She also acts as Macao as our focal points to the UNESCO Creative Cities Network and sits on part of the supervisory board. Thank you very much for joining us today, Helena. And Mr. Luis Heredia is the president of the Macao Hotel Association and principal consultant to 2 hotels in Macao. He has very rich experience in hospitality management and tourism education in Europe and also in Macao. He's actually a former colleague of mine when he headed our institute's training arm before joining the Macau Government Tourism Office as advisor to the director. And then he continued his venture into the industry. Ms. Joyce Wong is the Director of Training at the Learning Academy of Macao Resorts and Entertainment. Prior to joining Macao, she had worked for 2 international 5-star hotel brands in the area of HR and training. She has also taught at our institute. She's the first Macau local person to obtain the qualification of Certified Professional in Talent Development. And last year, she was named Human Resources Hotelier of the Year by Stellus Award. Last but not least, I would like to introduce Dr. Connie Lloyd. She is the Vice President of the Macao Institute for Tourism Studies. She oversees academic affairs. She's an IFTM alumna with 20 years of work experience in the academia. She has been closely involved in the Institute's quality assurance projects, namely UNWTO.TedQual certification and UK's Quality Assurance Agency's IQR, International Quality Review. Dr. Lloyd sits on several regional and government committees. And I forgot to mention Joyce is also an IFTM alumna. Okay, so Helena, are you back?
Of course. Hi, Fanny, and hi to everybody.
Hi, okay. Helena, would you like to have your face showing us, your face?
Yes, I'm on. Can you see me?
No.
No. Oops. Can't see me, Fanny? Yeah.
No.
Your video is on. Maybe it is covered.
Maybe if maybe you see a camera lens covered.
Oops.
I think while Helena is trying to fix this glitch, then perhaps I can ask Luis a quick question.
Please.
Okay, Luis, so you have heard me introduce the UNWTO.TedQual certification. And in fact, when you were still at the Institute, you were also partially involved in the process. So now you are an employer. From the employer's perspective, can you share with us how you think the TedQual certification has influenced your decision in partnering with IFTM and considering IFTM students for employment opportunities?
Thank you very much. First of all, thank you for inviting the Hotel Association to be part of this panel and also to express our gratitude, in fact, for having the output and of all this effort that IFTM, the tourism, all doing in having these students available to Macau and ultimately to us, as we are doing. At least in the hotel management course, there are other courses, and we profit from this. Yes, there was an experience. This was 20 years ago, 22. We were very impressed with the number of items we had to be we need to fulfill and to be accessed and as you said very well, where were the gaps and where we need to fit them and actually provide the standards. We work with SOPs in hotels. Is all about SOPs, so we will exactly know what you're talking about. And the students from IFTM, when they come to our industry, they come very well equipped, not only in knowledge, skills, but also the abilities. And what we want is to see the attitude, the right attitude. So the environment the IFTM is providing is actually going towards that direction. This is important. It's not only the academia, which is absolutely important, but also and all the contents, everything, but it's also the environment. And once you have followed all those SOPs with those 100, I think it was 193 items. I'm not sure. This is 22 years ago. By then, maybe now is different. Maybe now is 200 or 250. But So yes, we always understand, we always identify IFTM students, and we are very proud of the work done.
Thank you very much, Luis. Okay, Helena.
So you finally see me, right?
Yes. Beautiful picture. Beautiful Macao ruins of St. Paul picture. So Helena, how do you think the UNWTO.TedQual certification supports the sustainability development of the tourism industry?
Well, I think right now, tourists have come a long way since the early days of tourism. You know, they are now demanding quality. So you actually have to deliver quality. Obviously, you have to deliver content. You have to deliver quality as well. No matter how well you do your promotions, but if you can't deliver the quality that they want, you know, definitely they won't consider your destination, and they won't actually recommend your destination to anybody else. So quality is always key to the tourism industry. And we feel that the UNWTO.TedQual program actually provides a possibility to create a positive cycle. What I mean by that is that, you know, because the IFTM, say for example, the IFTM has this TedQual certification, and then, you know, the students you produce actually are also recognized internationally because they have come from your institute, which is certified by the UNWTO.TedQual program. And then, you know, with that, there is something to benchmark them. So they would provide good quality service in the industry, and the industry wants to employ them. And that also creates a rapport and goodwill between the institute as well as the local industry. And then also, you know, more eventually that also trickles down to an international recognition as well. So I think that helps the destination itself to continuously grow and to continuously provide very, very good quality to all our visitors. And that makes that helps to make, you know, the industry sustainable. And also with the new, I believe that every now and then with the audits coming in, you know, every now and then, they would also give you new ideas, and they would also demand higher quality from you eventually. So that would also help, you know, the destination as a whole to grow and also to grow better. So that is what my take on it. And I hope that, you know, this will, you know, this kind of very good partnership will continue to help the destination to grow, and as well as for us to recognize, you know, how well we fare among the international community and how we can do better.
Thank you very much, Helena. Very good insights. I will discuss further in the Q&A session. Okay, can I turn to Joyce? Joyce, as a past student of IFTM and now a very successful executive in the hospitality industry, can you share from the perspectives of a student and an alumna what impact the UNWTO.TedQual certification has had on your studies and career development?
Certainly. Thank you so much, Penny, for this invitation. TedQual has definitely benefited a lot in my studies because of the quality assurance in education. And I would love to share this quality assurance in three ways. The first one is really about the qualification and the experience of the teaching faculty, which I experienced the faculty coming from a very strong teaching skills, background, and research capability, and also the industry experience. Number two is the curriculum design. I really love the curriculum design because it is not just on the theoretical and the conceptual knowledge part, but also on the practical elements in it as well. So I was given a lot of opportunities to really, you know, gain a lot of hands-on experience as a front desk agent, as a room attendant, as a waiter and waitress in the early days of my education as well. And I also, you know, really very grateful for IFTM because IFTM has invested a lot in terms of the resources for the students. And at my time, we have the educational hotel and also educational restaurant, and continues on. I can see that, you know, we have so much opportunities to also practice, you know, which we have the learning part, and immediately we can practice afterwards. And the third part is really about the international exposure. IFTM has, a good reputation. And like what Dr. Wong, you have mentioned earlier, you have such a big network with global partners. And because of that, I was very fortunate and very blessed at that time that I have the opportunity to participate in a 6-month exchange program at the Purdue University in US. And that really helps me to appreciate the cultural differences, help me to learn to be adaptable, to be flexible, and at the same time, to be independent as well. So all of this combined actually has helped me a lot in my career development. I felt that we were very fortunate because we have both sides of the conceptual knowledge and at the same time, the practical experience, which helped to lay a very strong foundation in our early careers. And, all these studies have helped us to develop the skills, which is very much needed for today, especially on the critical thinking, on, how to work as a team, paying special attentions to details, and how to persevere even at times of uncertainty as well. So it was truly a very memorable experience studying at IFTM. And I would love to share a quote, which is from John Maxwell, an author in leadership. And he says, "Nurturing has the ability to transform lives." And because of IFTM's nurturing, that I felt my life is being transformed. So today I have the ability to inspire the next generations through my role in talent development. And it is only because of the inspiration that I received from IFTM. So thank you so much to IFTM, especially under the leadership of Dr. Wong and Dr. Loy. And thank you so much to UNWTO.TedQual, which really sets the foundations and the benchmark in the quality in tourism education. So thank you.
Thank you very much for your sharing, Joyce. Now let me turn to Connie, representing the faculty. So Connie, you have been involved personally, very closely in the whole accreditation process with UNWTO, with UKQAA, and you know how demanding the whole process is, right? The amount of documents that we have to prepare, right, to justify what we provide, the claims that we make. Do you think it is worth the effort? We spend days, even weeks and months, asking ourselves, what questions to prepare, the questions from the auditors. Is it worth the effort?
Thank you very much, Fanny. And you are so right. Actually, the process, I'll say, is not easy at all. But when you ask me this question, it is also a no-brainer for me as well, that all the efforts are very worthwhile. Just now, actually, you mentioned about, many benefits brought about by all these processes. I would like to take this further from the perspectives of faculty members. I think the certification process itself brings in multiple benefits, so many that I cannot just name them all here. But among others, I would like to highlight 3 of them. First, I think we are very prestigious to be able to invite experts with fresh eyes who help to identify strengths and weaknesses, which might otherwise be overlooked by the insiders, namely the faculty members, and of course, our own management and staff members. Sometimes insiders are just too used to the environment or too obsessed with the existing practice that may unintentionally forget some areas which are good practices and therefore can be served as motivators and encouragement to keep them moving forward. Or on the other hand, weaknesses, indicating rooms for improvement. The second benefit that I would like to highlight is that through regular curriculum review, it demands balanced practical and theoretical curriculum design with always up-to-date content and programs. So by benchmarking international practice, it assures that the programs offered here at IFTM have met international academic standards. Or for areas which are not up to level yet, faculty members can devise measures to close these gaps. And this can ensure international alignment and facilitate international collaborations between and among faculty members. Last but not least, participation in the certification process allows faculty members to play a crucial role in and take pride for the achievements of the Institute, thereby increasing their sense of belonging. We at IFTM believe that by involving everybody into the process, in particular, our faculty members, they become part of the success story and also appreciate better what and why the institute is doing. Rather than being told what they have to do, they now understand the whole rationale behind and why they are doing that. So long story short, faculty members can benefit tremendously from these certifications, not just during the process, but I think there are many more long-term positive implications throughout the career development IFTM as well.
Okay, thank you very much to all the speakers for your wonderful insights. So Kazem, back to you.
Thank you very much. It's surprising to see how you guys have been sustaining the program, and the lessons that is sharing now, it's surprising too. We in Macao Asia Pacific University, we joined recently, and we learned a lot. Of course, the challenges are a lot, but the learning and the value is also a lot. So I have many questions, but I let you, Fanny, decide to who I ask the questions. One of my questions is about the curriculum and the pedagogical system itself, that when you start implementing and for example, in the early stages of self-assessment, when we went through the courses, I personally found that I'm teaching something that somehow is similar in another course. So we were trying to bring all these together and make the whole program comprehensive, reducing something that is repeated among the courses and bringing something or filling the gaps. Would you mind a bit explanation if I ask you more about your experience with the comprehensiveness of the curriculum itself and the TedQual experience?
Yes, Kisem, I can take this question. You know, TedQual certification looks at 6 areas, one of which is pedagogy. So they ask you questions about coordination. All right, so first of all, when you develop the program, there has to be justification. There has to be program objectives, right? So you have to have very clear objective why you develop this program. Have you done enough research? Have you asked the stakeholders, do they need this program? Once you have this big idea, this big plan, then you have to execute. You have to design the curriculum. And once there, you also have to have people or faculty, right, to teach. Then there is this coordination system that TedQual also looks at. What is the system? How do you coordinate, for example, to avoid repetitive courses, overlapping contents, all right? So it is all these, layers that we have to be accountable for. The grand planning, the execution, the design, the execution, and then the coordinating, down to the last step, right? Marketing the program, explaining to students what they can expect to get from this program. So down to this level of detail. I think by following through this process, answering all these questions presented by the auditors, you are more or less, the right way in designing and structuring your program. But of course, it is not an easy process. I must admit, like what you said, it is very challenging because you cannot just get there. You cannot just get a full score there just once, do it once, and then you get there. It is a continuous process, right? The auditor also understands. That's why I say he speaks our language, because he has also experience in the academia and auditing. He understands that education is a long-term process, right? It goes in cycles. Every 4 years, you turn out a new batch of undergraduate graduates. But then after they finish, they give you feedback, right? You listen to your alumni, and then you start to think, oh yeah, I have to add new contents, or because the stakeholders also require new knowledge. I mean, you know, the industry like Luis or Helena representing the public sector, right? So by engaging with stakeholders, which is also one criteria in this TedQual auditing process, they also ask you how you engage with industry to ensure currency of your program, right? So by going through all these 180 something, 90 questions, you are almost more or less there. If you miss out some steps, you have to make up. Sooner or later, you have to make up because the next cycle will start in 4 years, sometimes even shorter in 2 if you are a new program, just newly accredited for a first time, right? So there's no escaping.
Kazem, you're muted.
Sorry, I was talking to myself. Yes, I think you are very right. And I think the most challenging time is in the beginning. I remember the days that I was discussing with Sonia how to do the homework and the long process. But it is worthy and it is educative. The more I think about the program, I want to know about this coordination and I feel that the coordination is not between us and UNWTO or other TedQual, but it started internally. So it means that the faculty, the body of faculty itself, that we probably are working together next room, but we don't know each other very well. And when we start these collaborations through TedQual, we see that how in a small environment or a small campus, we are diversified. And how can we learn from each other first? And then we bring it to our education quality. I don't want to take long here. If Sonia, you accept, we go with the videos and we come back with the panel discussion. What do you think, Sonia?
Very good. Yes, we will give some time for people to ask questions on the chat box you have underneath, and then it shows on your right. We already have some comments, so that's interesting. And after the video, we'll ask some questions, and I'll probably summarize also some of the comments that I've heard that I found very interesting. Though we know from UNWTO Academy the benefits of UNWTO.TedQual, it's always very interesting to hear them from each entity, because we usually contact directly the institution, but not that often the academic. Well, we do for the audits, but not on a regular basis. We know about, you know, what the alumni think and what has benefited them with, and also the employers. So it's very interesting. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. So before we go for the video and come back for the panel discussion, let me ask you, Jafar, if you want to have a pre-comment, Jafar. You are very quiet. We wake you up very early morning. Maybe that's fine.
No problem. Thank you very much. No, I'm with the group. I'm listening. I'm learning, and I would come back to you after the video.
Thank you, Jafar. So let's watch the videos. And meanwhile, I would like to ask the audience to grab their coffee or tea and come back with us for a very hot discussion.
IFTM offers a range of professional streams which will equip you with both professional knowledge and management know-how in contemporary hospitality and tourism business environment.
The students of IFTM's MSc programs have opportunities to participate in a range of UNWTO Academy courses, jointly delivered by IFTM faculty and UNWTO experts, to broaden the scope of knowledge while providing an international perspective for the postgraduate student.
International Gastronomy Management offers the interconnectivity between different gastronomic cultures and global exchanges. This program allows you to examine the role of food in historical and contemporary society from various perspectives. International Food and Beverage Management is open to everyone who is passionate about the F&B industry from an international perspective and who wants to work in this field from a management perspective.
We aim to provide contemporary, sustainable, and international outlook and skills that support your development into a management professional or future academic scholar in the tourism and hospitality field.
Data-driven decision-making is vital to today's business world. If you ever want to embrace technologies and apply them to real-world settings, our new postgraduate programs on smart technologies in hospitality and tourism are the right choices for you.
In addition, IFTM offers Doctor of Philosophy in Hospitality and Tourism Management, and we welcome people like you who are interested in academic research and would like to pursue a career in the academia or research-related field.
Macau is an ideal destination for your postgraduate study in tourism. A lot is happening around and within the place. It is part of the Greater Bay Area of China, which is rising to become a dynamic economic region of the world. The recent establishment of the Guangdong-Macau In-Depth Cooperation Zone in Hangzhou is offering a great deal of business and employment opportunities. Macau is also well connected to Portuguese-speaking countries. The tourism industry is the main pillar of the city's economy. Macau is home to many world-class integrated resorts and global hospitality businesses and brands. At Macao Institute for Tourism Studies, we have a strong faculty team, a wide network, internationally recognized and highly ranked programs. Most importantly, we work closely with the industry that enables us to provide an unrivaled learning experience that extends well beyond the classrooms. So, make the right choice today. Join us.
I'm Cyrus Im. I graduated from Tourism Business Management Bachelor Degree Program back in 2008. My 4 years at IFTM was rather eventful, or I should say I was never a typical type of good students who would spend most days in the library. I was always up for something new, something that I haven't tried, and IFTM is exactly the place that will give you that kind of experience. I remember I was a very active member of student union, and that gave me the opportunity to go to places like Singapore, Malaysia, Yunnan and Xinjiang. I also went to the Netherlands as part of the double degree program, through which I was able to travel around Europe, and I guarantee you that's probably one of the best programs available you can find in Macau. So I'm account manager from Global Sales Office Hong Kong. My main responsibility is really looking after my key global accounts across the corporate transit and my segment. So basically I look after my clients who have their regional offices in Hong Kong, and anything related to their business travel or meetings and events would be under my responsibility. Well, I've been with the company for 8 years, and I've been fortunate enough to work in places like Macau, Hong Kong and the Maldives on very different assignments. I started with Starwood back in 2008, and that was the Sheraton Macau in St. Regis Macau pre-opening time as a PR assistant. And from there, because of the credit crunch in that year, Lehman Brothers, as you know, I was offered the opportunity to go to the Maldives for a rebranding project, and we rebranded the local resort into a Sheraton resort. And after that, I went to Sheraton Hong Kong. And afterwards, after Sheraton Hong Kong, then I moved back to Macau for the pre-opening project for the Sheraton Macau. And it was a great experience, trust me. We did put in a lot of hard work and a lot of long hours, but it was all worth it, and we made it happen. And that was it. And 3 years ago, I saw this opportunity to join the Global Sales Office in Hong Kong. And I took it, I went for it, and I've been loving it ever since. Recently in September, Marriott International acquired Starwood, and now we've become the largest hotel company in the world, with 30 brands, over 5,000 hotels in more than 100 countries. And when I look back, I think change is the only constant thing in my career, and it really is up to you to make the most of it. It's almost like playing in a football team. You've got to play well in every single game. If you don't play well this game, you don't get to play the next, and you've got to just do your very best. I think IFT is really a brand name. I still remember my very first appointment with HR. You know, when I was applying for the first job, I was interviewed by an IFT alumni, and she said to me, there are over 100 applicants for this job, and we can't possibly interview everyone. And the fact that you actually graduated from IFT does give you that little bit of advantage. And well, at least I got an interview opportunity, and the rest is history.
Thank you very much, and a great opportunity to know from your experiences and expertise. So here, the panel is, or the panel discussion is going to cover the needs of the employers, students, educators, and also faculty. So we are going to see how these 4 groups come together and how UNWTO.TedQual see all these in a win-win and beneficial situation. I would like to ask everybody to come up with questions and without any order. But if you let me start with first ice-breaking question is about the employers, because due to the COVID, there are a lot of uncertainties in the future of the industry, and the employers need, especially, both in public and private sector. So I would like to ask Sonia first if she can enlighten us with some advice that what are the needs of the future employers, Sonia, and how TedQual is responding to this?
Well, thank you for your question. What we require from the institution that wants to have at least one of the programs certified is that they have a, sorry, my voice is going funny. Is that they interview and they have a close connection with the labor market, with the employers, so they know what are the current needs in the labor market and the future ones, because they are the ones that know this. And this is to be taken into consideration into the program. That's why we audit the coherence of the program. We do not audit the content of the program, because that would be a major point to take into consideration. And it will not be the same reality in Macau than in the other 40 institutions, the other 40 countries that also have at least one program certified in around 99, I think it's 99 or 100 institutions. So that would depend a lot on this, what are the current needs. We have noticed that one of the current needs that it is necessary all around the world is this being able to have this resilience and flexibility, which from what I have seen with the alumni in IFTM, they are very well trained for this because they have very strong education in tourism, but then their alumni have quite a diverse positions and roles that has given them thanks to the training they received at IFTM.
Thank you, Sonia. We have beautifully arranged by Fanny to have both public and private sector here. I would like to ask Helena, maybe, what are your expectations from academia as, or not only IFTM, from any educational institution for the future of tourism industry? What is the need of industry and how we should train human resource for public sector, Helen?
Well, thanks for the question. My take on it is that, first of all, we talked about quality just now, but another thing very importantly is that the IFTM or any institution, any education institution can also be able to look into the future or look, beyond what the students understand now about their own careers in tourism, meaning to say that the IFTM or any other education institution should actually be able to help the students have a career path. And with that, I mean that they need to also look at how is the industry developing? What are the new trends in the industry? And what do we want the industry to grow into in the future? And they have to provide the education, or they have to provide the tools for the students to actually meet those challenges. So in actual fact, the education institutions have to look beyond what is right now very, very apparent. They have to actually project what is the future, and really help them and help the students face the future. And I think that would by itself also make the institution and also make the industry sustainable.
Thank you, Helena. Let me go immediately back to Luis from the private sector. Luis, what do you expect from academia? Is your expectation more into the public sector to support you, or the public sector and academia or training sector should collaborate to deal with the need of the industry and public sector?
Well, let me thank you. And let me put this way, we are an international destination. We have locals working, but we also have an international professional group of people in different areas, from food and beverage to rooms to marketing and so on. The important thing, and I go back to the first notes of Professor Jafari about community, this is something that we have always to think. We have now this program, and we're discussing, I think IFTM is from 95, and then this accreditation from 2000. So is now the students, if you make some calculations, the students are now on the first batch are probably on their 40s. So this is the leadership that we expect them to take, and they are taking now, and we start to having good examples, is extremely important. For us, I think this has to be one of the principal focus, is that we have now our locals, the community coming to the leadership and working together with the workforce from the international other international professionals who are in the city. So this is very important. So leadership, and also together with not only the technical part, we already mentioned knowledge and all this, and knowing now digital, all this is very important. But I think the big challenge is also on the intercultural knowledge. and the skills, because in this global world, and this is interesting because the United Nations and the TedQual accreditation is like United Nations pretends to put all together, working together towards one respect, towards peace, towards sustainability, and this is what we have to achieve. So this is extremely important that we continue to work in this direction. Locals, community, leadership, and intercultural knowledge. And so this is probably what I think is the big focus of today.
Thank you, Luis. Let's go from public-private collaboration and academia, more focus into the faculty side. If Connie accept my request, I would like to know how TedQual is or has been influencing the process of the faculty selection, the coordinations, or even the professional development of the faculty. What are the standards that through UNWTO.TedQual you are expecting the faculty to acquire, especially in the professionalism? Connie.
Thank you, Kazem. Like previously mentioned by multiple speakers, actually the UNWTO.TedQual audit criteria cover a wide array of aspects. And in particular, related to faculty, it includes like faculty selection, coordination, performance evaluation, development, improvement, and promotion. All of these are actually covered in the audit. And you can imagine actually that throughout the past 22 years, as Fanny mentioned, it has been like vested in our gene, our blood, that it is our normal duty to perform all of these, not just to fulfill all these audit criteria, but it now becomes our own mission and our, the reason for existence. So to meet these criteria, and of course to continuously aspiring ourselves to be, a responsible employer as well as provider of education in the area, we need to ensure that the right faculty candidates are selected, balancing theoretical background with the industry background, so that they jointly contribute towards the education provision of our students. We also need to have regular meetings with the faculty members to get feedback from them and to hear them out. We also need to make sure that there is a proper mechanism in place to monitor and evaluate the results of aforementioned academic coordination processes. We also need to provide opportunities for improvement and promotion for faculty members so that they see that there is development path for them and there are rooms for them to grow together with the Institute. We also would like to make sure that there are programs oriented to facilitate that all our faculty members can broaden their internal and external qualifications through grants and other supports. And in terms of hardware, we also need to make sure that facilities for faculty to conduct their researches. So all of these make sure that both faculty members and the Institute have a clear picture of where we are, where we should be, and how we can meet or even exceed these criteria requirements. And with regular quality assurance certification process like the UNWTO.TedQual, we will be able to avoid self-complacency. And self-complacency was also mentioned by Fanny earlier. Faculty members will also feel secure working in a regulated and fair environment where their needs and benefits are safeguarded. So I really do see huge benefits afforded by all these opportunities through the process of certification via the UNWTO.TedQual.
Thank you, Connie. Your answer is very clear. So where we are, where we want to be, and how we make sure that we are going to this. So it means that in the process of TedQual implementation, you should have short and long-term goals and plans and make sure that in the next round of reaccreditation process, you have something to show new. And I personally think that this is even more difficult than the initial accreditation, because in the beginning we have many things to show, but how to show progress is very important. Thank you, Connie. And you mentioned about monitoring and the quality management tool. So it takes me back to the boss. Let me ask Fanny, as the person in charge on the top. So how do you see this program as a monitoring tool?
Yes, because you know, after every audit, we have debriefing with the auditor, and the auditor will tell us, you know, what he thinks needs improvements. And then internally we'll have meetings and we'll draft improvement plans. So this becomes something that we will monitor along the next cycle, in 2 or 3 years, 4 years. We'll make sure that we have at least, you know, checked most, if not all, of the things that we think are still missing. So this is one part of monitoring. Another is it has also led us to acquire services from other external parties. For example, we understand quality is important. We understand that there will be regular auditing. And even the government is also asking for more, asking that we provide evidence that we have been improving and we have a good governance structure. So we acquire services from, for example, UK QAA. But it all stemmed from the fact that we were first engaged with UNWTO. We were first already exposed to a set of criteria. This helped us improve. And because we know we can do better, and we know there are gaps, so we continue our pursuit in various other regards, including going through other audits, just to, you know, triangulate, to verify that indeed we are following the trends of international education. So this is the second point. The third one is, you know, management team ourselves, we are very conscious about the needs to monitor. We present a 5-year development plan to our board 2.5 years ago. Right. This is also based on the principle of accountability. So we run the institution, we have to make strategic plans. We have to make sure that these plans are aligned with government policies and as well as the needs of the community and the industry. And then these plans will also guide us into the execution phase. So all these cycles, you know, strategic planning, auditing, you know, government monitoring, acquiring external quality assurance services are all part and parcel of the whole monitoring and management process.
Thank you, Fanny. I didn't ask Joyce my question in the beginning because I gave her the priority to listen all the answers and then can answer and evaluate all of us, because she's talking in the student perspective, and student satisfaction is very important in TedQual program. So Joyce, I want to know what, as a student or as alumni, I know you're not that far from your student time and still very young. So do you remember about these standards during your study? What did you feel? Was it making your life more difficult, or it was a chance for a better learning? I don't know. I don't want to impose any answer. So would you please elaborate?
Thank you, Kassan, for your question. Definitely, you know, I'm a testimony of the quality of the learning experience that we see from IFTM. Certainly, all the standards that were being shared just now, I have experienced a lot in my studies. If I can share, you know, pre the study itself, we were given so much opportunities to get to know more about IFTM. I remember that I get to know about IFTM through my high school, that IFTM will come and, you know, promote about the curriculum curriculum and how life as a student at IFTM. And during the study, we have so much opportunities that, we can meet with the management of IFTM. I still recall that Dr. Wong was actually at the pedagogic meeting, really hearing from us students, about our voices, our opinions, and, all these voices are actually being considered and being taken, which we really appreciate. And, even after graduation, as an alumni, IFTM has keep on connecting with us, and we have a strong alumni network which we can collaborate and we can leverage on one another's strengths and weaknesses, and and help with one another, and we have all this alumni gathering, and we have a lot of activities that we can participate in. And IFTM always from time to time also send us surveys, which keep in touch with us and try to understand about our career development and satisfaction level as well. So I would say that it's a very complete mechanism in place, and until today that I really feel so proud being an IFTM alumni.
Thank you very much, Joyce. I think your educators also are proud of you, and the industry need many people like you.
Thank you.
I think I'm going too long, so let me ask Professor Jafari that has been quiet and listening to all of us. I know, Jafari, you are going to come up with a list, so please open your magic box.
You're a demanding person, Qasim. It's too early in the morning here to think. Thank you very much for this comprehensive program architected by Fanny and by you, Qasim, and Sonia. The contents are excellent. It covers all the areas. The history or journey was mentioned a number of times, and in this history and journey and TedQual, I don't want us to forget who was at the beginning of TedQual, and that is Eduardo Paez-Sola. God bless his soul. He's the one who created this program break by break. I remember those days that he was putting it together. Fanny, I remember when you came I met you actually at WTO, if I can recollect correctly, and it was in relation to Eduardo Paez-Sola's meeting. So that is the history that needs to be mentioned. There have been architects in the past, and we are basically following the footstep of Eduardo Paez-Sola. On the faculty development, I just wanted to, a lot of ideas came to my mind when you were talking, and I wrote a lot of notes to myself. I don't know which one I should mention first. About faculty development, we talk about student development, faculty development, collaboration with the industry, etc. On the faculty development, a question for Fanny, I suppose. To what extent do you encourage your professors to take their sabbaticals in the industry rather than the traditional way of going from one university to another university, from theory to theory? Do you encourage or do you demand that sabbaticals are spent in the industry?
Okay, Jafar, you always ask the most difficult question. This is also difficult. Why? Because, we are a public higher education institution. The public part makes it difficult. Currently, we're not able to send faculty on sabbatical, because they're all considered Macao civil servants. Macao civil servants don't have sabbaticals. But I'm happy to inform the group that we are changing our charter. We're going to get more autonomy, and we have already written that into the new personnel ordinance, that in the future we'll be able to provide sabbatical opportunities. Having said that, Jafar, currently, in the past as well as currently, we have had some form of mechanism to send our faculty to the industry for a short-term exposure. For example, of course, it's not anything that is very formal, but when opportunities arise, our faculty, especially because we have very good relations with the industry, they could be invited to the industry, to the back of house, to observe operations, to discuss with general managers new trends. They could also invite them into our classrooms, into our setting, to continue this discussion and bring updated knowledge to our students. So I totally agree with you that we cannot just, continue this academia to academia kind of exchange. There has to be more dialogue between academia and the industry. And to do this, we have to step out of our comfort zone. All right, so we are ready to do that. All we are waiting is just, the formal mechanism to allow us.
Excellent. Of course, we need to build bridges, and on bridges, we need to have two-way traffic. One-way traffic is no good. Now, from the industry to academia, I know you and, for example, Hong Kong Polytechnic University are very good in bringing to the classroom professionals. I think Hong Kong Polytechnic University even has a title for that, professional professor, or things like that. Fanny, would you comment on that, on this two-way traffic?
Yes, definitely. They have this program called Professor for a Day. They have, in Western other universities, they also have like clinical professors and so on. Now, we also have a similar category, but we don't call that professor. We have instructors, we have lecturers, we have, that kind of practical professionals who we also welcome to be part of the faculty. We are already having some of them from the industry, helping our students to understand the skills, knowledge required for the future career. And then we also invite regularly partners from the industry to share with our students new trends in the industry. They give guest lectures, especially to working students. They already have good exposure in the industry, but they need to know more. They need inspiration, not so much about working, but maybe inspiration. You can ask Luis from the Macao Hotel Association. They are also regular speakers. Helena herself is a regular supporter, coming to our events, inspiring students, telling students what new skills are needed. So Joyce, we have partnered with Malco. We send instructors to Malco. We have this culinary program with them. So I think the bridge is quite well built in the Macau setting. I mean, from our perspective. In general, hospitality and tourism programs in Macau, in general, they have good support from the local industry.
Yes, I'm aware that at that corner of the world, the relationship is much better than some other areas that hospitality, education, and training has become more theory rather than practice. And we all have to remember that after all, there's a tourism industry, and we're training people to enter a reality, which is practice. I don't know if anybody else wants to comment on this bridge between the industry and the academia, and how we can make it going better, better collaboration, so that the industry gets exactly the type of students that they would like to hire. Would anybody else want to talk about this traffic between, or collaboration or partnership between universities and the industry? Kazem, how do you do it at your end?
Yeah, I think Sonia is going to wrap it up at the end. But through TedQual, I visited some universities that they have compulsory internship in the program. The student cannot graduate unless they have one semester internship. And it made the whole area incorporated in the education system. So, and the student, or the let's say the university was part of the labor market in the region. So they were counting on certain number of students who come, they work with industry and they live with industry, and after they leave, they take the experience, or they become a network for the industry. So it means that I have seen that examples that the industry and academia were collaborating very well. And due to that, here we, in its Macao Asia Pacific University, we are, by the way, we are nearly establishing a new college, the College of Sustainability and Tourism, which we open it in next April. And one of our main emphases in the new curriculum is internships, is outdoor education, and is field studies. And these programs take students outside, out of the campus. We have a small city of Beppu with about 100,000 residents that accommodate more than, I think, 18 million visitors a year. With many hot springs. Jafar, you have been here yourself. And we use this community as a tourism laboratory. So, but we think we need more systematic collaborations that industry knows how much they can count on the academic side as a collaborator. And I think Joyce has, her hand raised, but before that, I think we have a roadmap that I forgot, or maybe all of us, it was too obvious that we didn't mention about this. And maybe so before Sonia get angry, I want to say that we didn't forget the Global Code of Ethics. And this is a must in UNWTO.TedQual that we have to implement it. And these 10 Code of Ethics also is a very useful tool for us to build the bridge that you are asking about, Jafar. So let me pass it on to Joyce. Maybe she wants to answer your question. Is it? No. Or is it? It's a participant. Okay. So we'll have time for some questions in the chat. But I don't know, did I answer your question, Jafar?
Yes, you did. Thank you very much. Just before I ask another question, by the way, I'm learning a lot. This has been a very educational panel. Thank you very much. In my old days, I was more interested in theory and actually quoting myself, knowledge for the sake of knowledge. That's the way I was. But later on, I realized that knowledge for the sake of knowledge is not doing much, because the outcome will be piled up in libraries, warehouse of knowledge, and they are not sent to the industry. So practice became more and more important to me. And that is what I favor, in the programs that they have a combination of theory and practice. When we, in the old days, when we started doing tourism degree programs, emphasis moved from practice to theory. And we did more and more theory, and all these PhD programs, etc., graduating students who knew every theory, but they didn't know how to put it into practice. So the combination of theory and practice is crucial in hospitality and tourism, and with a special emphasis on practice. The way we did it in the past, before coronavirus, things were being quantified. Bigger was better. We went for volume, we went for numbers. And when we started doing that, we lost quality. Quality was lost at the expense of quantity. And something that was lost in quality was the concept and practice of hospitality. So these days, when we are talking about service, 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 and quality, 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 somehow there is no mention of hospitality? What makes Macau, Macau? What makes Thailand, Thailand? What makes Taiwan, Taiwan? What makes Canada, Canada, etc.? This local hospitality community, to what extent are we bringing that to the classroom? To what extent are we dishing it out to the customers? I would like to hear about the concept and practice of hospitality to the extent that we see at IFTM or other places. My thesis is basically there is less emphasis on hospitality and more emphasis on service. But service doesn't have any character. It is the hospitality that gives color, flavor, taste to what we are serving out. We are the only industry that we call ourselves hospitality industry. No other industry uses that adjective. So how can we make sure that our students understand the notion and practice of hospitality? Luis mentioned intercultural education, maybe, or practice. That comes very close to what I'm trying to say. You know, how much do we teach intercultural? And when we teach intercultural, it becomes international. When it becomes international, it becomes service. When it becomes service, it is not hospitality, local hospitality anymore. So how do we keep this balance of having quality service and at the same time local hospitality? Maybe, Luis, I would like to challenge you to share your perspectives with us on this.
Yeah, it's the challenge, and more as we go global. I remember when I was a young graduate, we probably find groups in our tables where I start with food and beverage. Well, shortly I start with rooms, but then I moved to food and beverage, and we had a table was almost homogeneous. We have a group of in my time, maybe a group from local Macau. Then we have a group that were visitors from Hong Kong. But nowadays, in the same table, we have people from different places. So with different expectations. So what kind of service are we providing? How much do we know about their culture? How much do I know how to please this and that person? So this is the globalization and this challenge in service. Obviously, we need to follow up with our SOPs. We have to have our standards operating procedures, and we based on that. But we have to know more and more about beliefs, religions, respect, values. And this is something that is the big challenge, not only the technology, but the software, the soft skills, and at least to understand how can I address a certain person, how probably differently from the next one, which is on the same table. It's a big challenge nowadays, and that's why I think I emphasize this is where service or it's demanding more and more knowledge on culture, different cultures.
No, thank you, Luis. Anybody else who would like to add to this notion of hospitality and how to dish it out?
Jafar, we didn't forget that in our institute, we didn't just teach service, we blended into our everyday training of students, practical know-how. So it's service and skills and attitude and understanding of cultural differences through incorporating global code of ethics, which speaks a lot about respecting values, providing equal opportunities, being conscious of being culturally sensitive. I think that is the whole package. That it's not just service, but it's an understanding, it's a respect, is a desire to please a guest coming from afar. So we build this into our everyday training, especially in the junior years of our students, the formative years, forming the attitude, making them understand the importance of cultural respect, to understand that in the future they will be working in multicultural settings. So they better learn from now.
Excellent. But the point I also want to emphasize is how do we teach hospitality, not in the sense of proper interaction and proper service, but to bring the local colors out, the local hospitality out. How do we do that? When people go to places, they want that local flavor, the local attitude, the local service. What I'm trying to say is that I don't mean IFTM, I mean in general, we go after service and quality of service, and the notion and practice of local hospitality is less and less emphasized. And the colorfulness of tourism is being lost because we go for quality service rather than dishing out local hospitality. It's a difficult challenge, especially in a classroom that the students are from 30 nations. Which hospitality are we going to talk about? So should the students of hospitality and tourism take courses in local hospitality, local culture? Do they understand their own culture, their own heritage? Because that is what the tourists want most of the time. I know it's not a very simple question, but it's the reality that is in the core of hospitality.
I think that's what Eduardo also wanted to take into consideration when he thought of this quality certification, because we always talk about the program's coherence and the curriculum coherence, and not so much about the content, because it is very important to take into consideration the needs and the situation and the history and the hospitality, as you very well mentioned it, of the location where is the institution. So whatever is important in that country or destination has to be reflected in the curriculum. Otherwise, as you were mentioning, then the contents of the courses of all around the world will end up being the same. And it's not the idea. Quality has to reflect our traditions as well, our culture, and with always respect, of course. But that's our own hospitality, as you very well mentioned.
Kazim, I think I asked enough questions, more than my share. And I am really learning. I'm just like a student in the class, in the classroom, and I'm asking questions that are interesting to you. But for your information, I'm very sensitive to the subject of community, to the concept of practice, to the concept of culture and intercultural relationship. And the reason for that is I'm a cultural anthropologist myself. In addition to having studied hospitality and tourism, I ended up to become an anthropologist, and I try to bring that into my lectures. I try to bring that into my practice as well. Kazim, back to you.
Thank you, Jafar. I'm surprised that in this early morning you had many questions, but it's not really a surprise. I would pass it to Sonia. I know the audience might be in a hurry. We can't keep them longer. So back to you, Sonia, for your closing.
Thank you so much. It's been amazing. And I really appreciate everything I have heard. And I would like to thank all the speakers that were here present today. And I would also like to mention that from the messages we read on the chat, that the participants, the assistants were very attentive. There are two questions that I would not like to miss out. One of them is from another member of UNWTO.TedQual network. It's from Yarmouth University in Jordan. As I was mentioning earlier on, the certification we have certified 175 programs around the world in 99 institutions in 40 countries. And this one in Jordan is one of them. Very happy to read your message, Dr. Arej Aludat. Actually, we were invited by Higher Hotel Institute, Higher Hospitality Institute in Cyprus to talk about language learning and the tourism sector. And we did a little survey among our UNWTO.TedQual network members about what is the importance of learning languages and how they did that. And in reply to your question that you asked, how non-English speaking countries face the challenges of the language for their students. So we had different answers regarding that. Some institutions, they required students to already know some languages, and some others had different ways of helping them to learn it. I can send that to you, but to summarize it, they are not only had the lessons for the languages to learn, but also they had special events that were in that language, or they had special days on that language. So it depended on the various, there are quite a different approaches. So I can send you that if you wish, or you can go to my LinkedIn profile and see the article I wrote about. Then there is another question that says, how can we connect hospitality attitude learning to entry-level workers? Majority of hotel workers, and mostly from local population, but most of whom are not able to attend universities. There are different also, again, ways of approach with this, and we see that with our other quality certification for destination management organizations, where there are specific programs that provide directly the destination management organization for the different workers of the destination that were not able to attend specific training or education in tourism. And also there are connections with a chamber of commerce or chamber of tourisms. There are other university and institutions that also offer specific courses for the sector, for the professional sector. There are many different ways of being able to train them. There is one case I remember of an institution in Spain that actually convalidates the experience of the workers and then gives them the knowledge they require and they don't have with the experience to be able to have certifications. So it's quite a wide way different of doing it. I would like to end up, if you don't mind, summarizing a little bit what was said, because it was very rich. I would like to mention some of the things that I take back home. First of all, the dialogue with the industry is not only inviting them to meetings, but to have a very close connection with them. Not only having interns into their companies, but also inviting them into the institution where they can be part of the faculty academia, and to have a strong dialogue in that sense, so the students gain this knowledge that is required for them when they enter in the labor market. From the alumni perspective, I always also take with me that actually they even feel that the courses are tailor-made to the needs they're going to need for when they enter into the labor market. And that's quite important, because sometimes this work is not actually always seen by the alumni. And now we're very happy that they see that. And also the importance of the international partners, as Joyce was mentioning, and the video we heard as well of the other alumni, that they have this possibility of having not only international visiting professors, for example, but they can go and spend some time in these international partner institutions or industry. That's also a possibility of doing internships abroad. From the academia point of view, this sense of belonging, it's so important to have this sense of belonging with the institution, because then you can deliver much more in the sense of understanding the whole concept of the institution, the also strategies for improving quality, and you can pass it on to the students that will then bring it to the industry, the public or private sector in the labor market. The benchmarking, I heard a few times, that is very important, so they know what they're doing and how they're doing it and why and where they want to bring their education to. I really appreciate hearing that the students arrive very well equipped and with the right attitude. That's also extremely important. We sometimes forget about that. It's not only about hard skills and knowledge, also about soft skills that can be trained. And IFTM is doing an extremely good job at that. It gives a possibility of creating a positive cycle, as I also heard, not only with the quality service, but with the recognition, with the good rapport with the industry and the labor market and the sustainability of the sector, because that's when it really closes the loop. The education is somehow the starter, but really what is important is to give this good quality to the tourists when they arrive and have this very good experience in the destination. And I have so many, I don't know if I have time to read them all, but it's been amazing. One more thing that I want to mention, that it helps also the institution to have this continuous learning and improvement tool, which is very important, that it's evidence-based. And the most probably important for me is that it builds trust. When there is trust, there is more opportunities of learning, and also it brings more joy to even the tourists. So thank you so much. It's been amazing.
Thank you very much. Thank you all. A very special thank to Dr. Fanny Wong and his team from Macau, and for their generosity in sharing the knowledge that they have accumulated with the program. I apologize for being late, and if possible, I would like to ask everybody to turn on their camera to have a group photo before we end the session. If you don't mind, please just turn on your cameras and show us your big smiles, if possible.
That's an idea.
Thank you, Malcolm. Okay, so one more time, please. 3, 2, and 1. Thank you very much, and we are looking forward to see you again in SCoT. Please follow us on our website and visit our video library, which is YouTube/SCoT webinars. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much to you, Kazem, Jafar, also Fanny, Connie, and the extremely well representatives of Macau. You've been amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you very
Fanny,
much.
If I was young, Fanny, I wanted to apply to your college and become a student at your college.
You're most welcome. You don't need to apply.
Very comprehensive program. Thank you very much for taking care of the future generation of hospitality and tourism. May I propose, Kazim, that maybe we should have also a webinar some other time to talk about the role of universities in retraining the existing manpower, the people who are already working. That would be a very nice topic. We always talk about training the next generation, but how about the present generation who needs to be updated?